Kc9Vkv.
Kc9Vb, I think it's Victor. Might be Victor or Baker, I'm not sure. Hello?
Roger, roger. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. The name is Jim, and we're 3 miles from downtown Louisville, Kentucky. Roger?
Roger. Oh, wow. Well, that's pretty good. I'm in Evergreen, Colorado. We got a few other stations on frequency. I'm not sure you're hearing them. Name is Dave, Whiskey 0 Tango Kilo X-Ray. I'm west of downtown Denver, about 40 miles in the foothills.
Roger, Dave. I'm using the San Francisco SDR, Half Moon SDR receiver for feedback.
Okay, I'm sorry. I think we doubled. Which SDR?
Using the San Francisco Half Moon SDR receiver for feedback.
Really good SDR. They got one heck of an antenna. They got that crazy TC something or another omnidirectional rod periodic array, and that thing's nuts.
Roger, I'm getting a very, very good signal from you coming back through that. Every once in a while, it'll blank out for a couple of seconds. I think they have about 42 people using that SDR receiver now.
Yeah, it's one of the best SDRs in the United States. I use it once in a while too when I need to, but I'm running a Flex 3000, and it's a pretty good receiving station, and my dipole doublet is way up in the air. So there's a couple other people out there. See if they can hear you. Holler and make them come back to you.
Roger, roger. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. Anybody wake out in California?
Kilowatt 6 Oscar Delta India, Mike in California. Hey guys, I'm going to call it a night and pull the plug, so I'll catch up with you all tomorrow.
Hey Mike, don't rush off. Louisville's just coming in.
Of course you meant to.
Roger that. K6 ODI is clear.
Roger, roger. Well, Louisville's ready to party here. We closed everything down around here. It's about 1:20 in Louisville, so we're headed to California for the party.
Well, be careful out in California. You know, you might have to use a passport because that's almost another country. Rumor has it.
Well, yes. I don't think I'm going to get into any of those subjects, Roger, roger.
Roger. No, I kid. I actually like California. And Burbank, of all places, and relatives out there, and I just... You know, everybody likes to poke fun in California. I think California is pretty awesome. You know, they just surpassed the UK in the United Kingdom in financial output. They are now the 5th strongest country in the whole world by themselves.
If they do say so themselves.
So, yeah, you know, there's a lot going on out there.
Roger, they have a way of dealing with adversity, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
We are running a Qso-Vlog audio and video tape of the transmissions. I've been trying to establish early morning propagation on 80 meters into California from Louisville. I think it's about a 2,000 mile trip or some thereabouts.
Yeah, this time of night should be pretty good. It's going to get goofy with the lightning crunches, but you know, and I'm kind of pickle in the middle out here near Denver. So yeah, the band's pretty good tonight. It's pretty consistent, not a lot of QSP. relatively quiet noise-wise. A lot in the past few nights. More lightning over on your end.
Roger that. I'm starting to lose quite a bit of information off of the Half Moon SDR for some reason. It blanks out for a couple of seconds at a time. I don't know why that is. The other night we were using it, it was just perfect. I guess it's a matter of the you know, how good the internet's doing and how many people are tagged onto that SDR receiver.
Yeah, it can depend on users, and of course you're depending on the internet. Might be something on your end, and blah blah blah. There's one in Salt Lake that I use from time to time. I do like the SDR receivers. They're handy. One of the things I like them for is if you're on a clear frequency, and you know, I dial in my audio pretty well without it, but just to make sure, I like listening to my own signal and see how the audio sounds when I'm transmitting. So I'm running a Flex 3000 with an HL2200 last generation Heathkit amp, Heil dual element microphone. I'm using the narrow element, and I'm actually transmitting at only 1.9 kilohertz wide, but it's carefully tailored to my voice to avoid the aesthetic lollipop factor. You know what I mean?
Oh, Roger. Well, you have shaped the bottom end to match the top end, so it sounds very, very balanced. You know, that's what a lot of folks don't do when they restrict the top end. You've got to go and restrict the bottom end for balance.
Oh, yeah. I like to make it articulate, and thank you. I've definitely worked on it and tweaked it. I've got a wide element, and I use that on AM. This radio does a great job on AM. And I don't do that.
I think we've lost Half Moon altogether. We're transmitting in the blind at the moment.
Sound just like me. I've got a reasonably deep voice, but you know, whatever. So I just dialed it in, and being a fussy sound guy, I'm pretty pleased with what this radio can do. It's got a lot more bells and whistles to it, and a lot of people crank them the wrong way, you know, and they try to come out with a big bopper sound, which is just totally inappropriate most of the time.
Roger that. Now, where are you rolling off on the bottom end? Where is the number that you're rolling off on the bottom for balance?
Well, hang on. Let me look at my setup now. I'm EQ'd as well. So, but let me look at my DSP settings here. I'm rolling off at 40 hertz, and I'm up to 2500, which pretty much fits my voice. But at the same time, the EQ setting starts rolling off. The peak is for my voice is about 500 to 800. And I'm down around 40 or so. I'm, you know, in the EQ and the way I've worked it with the audio chain, the bottom end is at 0 dB. I'm adding a little more emphasis, but I've turned down later in the audio chain. That's one of the beauties of the Flex, that you can do that. So my ALC is definitely, I rarely go over 0. It's usually just under 0, unless I talk too loudly. So I've got a nice gentle curve running 0 dB up to about 15 dB around the 400 to 800 range, and then it starts dropping again at 1K down to 0 dB up at 16K. Does that make sense?
Well, I'm not sure, but I'm looking at your modulation on a VU meter on the, you know, we have a kind of like a switchboard for audio input, so where we can have our receiver or the SDR receiver. It's a 6-position rotary switch, and that'll get us into the mix circuit, and then the total thing is it comes out on a VU meter where we can see your modulation and actually my modulation. And you have very good average peak modulation, so it's almost like you're working into a limiter, not a compressor, but more like a limiter, because your your dynamic range is probably 2 or 3 dB, which is a good average peak modulation. Roger.
QSL, this is a software-defined rig, and I am running the downward expander, which helps a lot. It is basically it's a compressor limiter, and it does what it's supposed to do. I'm running it kind of mellow. I don't need a lot on it, but also, again, I'm looking at your pass band on my rig here, and you've got energy across your whole pass band, which is a goal, man. I mean, you don't want the bass to be higher than the highs. You want it to be, it's not going to be flat, but you want energy all the way across your pass band, and you're doing that as well. You've got great audio.
Thank you, sir. We work on it hard. This is an older radio. It's Yaesu 990, so we have to kind of shape the audio going into it a little bit. But anyway, it's out of the 990 into the Heathkit SB220, and then from there up to the, well, in this case, a dipole. Roger.
Oh yeah, when you talk a little stronger, and I think mine is doing it slightly too, you have a little more power on the bass, but it's not a big deal on the lower frequencies. It's probably due to the fact that your voice is, a little bit lower. You could possibly crank the highs up just slightly for a bit more articulation, but it only needs a nudge. I mean, again, the energy across the whole pass band is very close to equal, at least according to my picture here. And I run basically this Flex. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but a lot of people are. It runs a fan adapter type display, and I can see everybody's audio content and whatnot. It's really kind of fun.
Oh, roger that. Now, if I'm usually right up contact with the mic. And we've got the bottom end rolled off to avoid any bottom buildup, but right now I'm working about an inch away, so that should take off that bottom lobe a little bit, so it should be maybe a little bit more balanced. Roger.
Oh yeah, it made a difference, absolutely.
Yeah, this is, can you tell if we're out to 3? This is a 2.5 radio, but we're kind of pushing the top end steeper than the roll-off. Roger?
I'm listening at 2.9K, and this thing's pretty much got brick wall filtering, as they call it, and you're pretty much filling that pass band, yes.
Great. That's what we were looking for, just around 3. But not over that. We're just happy to be able to get that 2.4 on up there, Roger.
Oh yeah, and it depends on the radio design and how tight it is and all that. I don't know if you're running software so you can see where I'm at, but I know it rolls up a little bit higher, but I'm probably, people that listen to me with 2.4K, which is an awful lot of rigs out there, and even 2.1, they hear me just fine. But if I run ESSB and crank it up to about 4 wide, and they're listening at like 2.4, I sound like crap. Well, yeah.
Roger. Well, you sound very balanced. The tonality of the audio is very broadband balanced, nice articulation, and a comfortable bottom end. It doesn't sound like there is no bottom there. Roger.
Oh yeah, well, like I said, how low can you go? I got a reasonably deep voice, but you know, articulation happens in the 5 frequencies, and then you got to mess around to get it right. And, you know, some people don't get into this. They just go, oh, the heck with it, and it's just a lot of hooey, but I don't think so. Making it sound good and intelligible with a lot of punch in most cases is a lot of fun. I do enjoy running AM with higher fidelity audio. I do run the wider Heil element for that, and I will run, at least 8K wide, usually a little wider on AM, and then I will run 6K wide with the appropriate scouting for a wide enough frequency on sideband from time to time with some friends that are really into ESSB, and it works really well. That's a lot of fun, but it's not necessary most of the time.
Roger that. What kind of AM rig are you running?
I run the Flex on AM. It was a great job. As a matter of fact, people like, if they haven't talked to me before, oh, that really sounds good. Are you using plate modulation? And I just laugh.
Roger. So what's your resting wattage?
When I'm not running it into the amp, which I do use this. It's basically the same amp as you've got, but I watch the output. About 30 watts, so I got a little headroom, and it does it pretty well. But I'll run that into the amp, and I carefully watch the drive and actually detune the load control for a little more headroom. And then maybe 125 to 130 watts carrier. That keeps the amp fairly cool, and that's enough power to talk to a lot of people on AM. It does a good job.
Oh, roger that. Yeah, I spent 50 years in AM broadcast, and they're running even the smalls are running a kilowatt, which is a kilowatt all the time, and then the modulation is additive to that, but at least there's a kilowatt. And so I come from a career where AM radio has enough RF to quieten the area on the dial, so when you tune across that carrier, even unmodulated, it gets very quiet when you pass through the that frequency, and in amateur radio, it seems to me there's not enough RF to actually give band quieting. That's the only thing that I actually see or have against ham AM operation. Roger. Yeah,
although I do hear that quieting effect when the upper bands are open, and I get a huge kick out of working 10-meter AM when the band's open. I hear what you're saying, and I was able to do it with my TS-850, which I also run on AM, but that's my backup rig, and haven't done it for a while. Got a DSP-100 on that, and I got a few audio toys that are not in line anymore because the Flex has most of it. But the one thing I have not dealt with on the Flex, I'm sure if I did some pre-processing before I sent it into the rig, I could do it. But asymmetric modulation, oh my God, that makes such a huge difference, and a lot of people don't even know about that.
Roger. Well, you're modulating the negative side harder than the positive?
Correct.
So the negative side would be up around 120% or so?
Yeah, a little bit lower than that. You don't want to push it too hard, but absolutely. It works really good, and it's really good. My goodness, it sounds terrific, and a lot of the older plate modulated rigs will do that really readily. Some of the old Feast Kick gear, and certainly the old Collins stuff, and whatnot. So when I was first licensed in '70, and I couldn't afford a sideband rig, so I homebrewed. Somebody gave me a big modulation transformer. I basically reverse engineered the plate modulator for the ICO 720 that I had, and I scratched built it, and I was on AM for a few years until I could afford to build my first Kc transceiver and get on sideband. But yeah, that was interesting. The sideband had pretty much taken over, and the AM guys were picked on. You probably remember that.
Well, Whiskey 7 Zulu Alpha radio. I have a John Viking Ranger who's plate modulated sitting right here.
Ooh, I didn't hear you very well, but I heard somebody making a cool comment.
A gentleman was saying he had a, was it a Johnson Ranger?
Ranger? Yeah. Oh, heck yeah, those are great radios.
Yeah, that's the transmitter I have.
That's the transmitter you're on now?
I used to work a lot on test plots working for my dad down in Waseca, you know, the home of Johnson. So I never owned any of their radios for the silly older CD that I have, but they let me use their station frequently when I was a kid, and I greatly appreciated it.
Johnson's a really great sound on amplitude modulation. I like using mine on AM. It sounds just fabulous with the Helicopter's S76.
Roger, Roger. Now, what is the output of the Johnson Ranger? Is that like 100 watts? So then you could run it right into SB220 or something?
40-watt carrier, about 200 watts modulation peaks.
So you would be 230 RF out?
Yeah, around there. I mean, you got a carrier and then you got the double sideband, so you got to do the math on that stuff. So 40 watts is your carrier, and then you know, times that by 4 on both sides. It adds up quite a bit there. Over.
Roger, Roger. What's the call sign there in the name?
Call sign here is Whiskey 7 Zulu Alpha Radio, and my name is Daniel. Over.
Oh, Roger that. I'm using the, well, I'm transmitting from Louisville direct to California, more or less, and using the San Francisco Half Moon SDR for the return audio. Roger.
Yeah, Roger, Roger. I'm just listening to you on my on 746.
Rogers, from time to time this SDR receiver gets stutters, and sometimes it drops out for a couple of seconds, so it's sometimes flying in the blind, if you know what I mean.
Good evening, all. Hello there. Greetings and salutations. Would you like some fresh cracked pepper for your salad?
I think I'd like some tequila.
I've heard that about you.
Well, at the start of this, I used to love to drink tequila when we went to South America. And the thing that I noticed was that when they drank it, they started dancing on tables as it fell. It was the most amazing thing I ever saw.
Wow, anti-gravity due to tequila. Interesting. Or maybe that was centripetal force.
Well, it could have been, and I'm not talking about weightlessness. I'm talking about the sweet John honey.
Oh, I figured you were talking about both because, I can pick on you like that.
It's okay, there is no pressure.
Kc9Vkv.
Right time for me to ID again. We're cutting it up late night, W0TKX, Ray.
TKX, could you come back with your call sign slowly, phonetically again, please? TKX, can you come back with your call sign slowly, phonetically, please?
Yes, it's Kilowatt 7 Echo Charlie. Then the name is Kirby, like the vacuum cleaner.
The name is Charlie.
Charlie. My name is like the vacuum cleaner. K-I-R-B-Y.
Harvey?
Harvey? No, it's Kirby, K-I-R-B-Y, like the vacuum cleaner, QSL.
Oh, Roger, Kirby. Oh, okay, so, and what was your call sign, please?
This is W0TKX. The other guy is K7 Echo Charlie.
Roger, and TKX, what is your name out there?
Oh, I'm another Dave. There's a lot of Daves in this world. Dave's not here, man.
Okay, we're running a Qso-Vlog video of the transmissions, and we do have a Qso-Vlog page on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that'll take you to the Qso-Vlog page, and right at the top of the page there's one that has all of our Qsos, 190 some odd Qsos, and if you click on that, it'll open. When it opens up, we will be posting this Qso just below Art Bell, and you know, right at the top there. Roger.
Oh, good Lord! Does that mean I have to behave myself?
Too late now, man.
I know the zombie here has to behave because, you know, the undead are going to come out here soon.
Well, yeah, anyway. Yeah, I used to talk to Art Bell back in the day. It's a shame he passed away, but, before 3840 turned into meltdown territory, he used to have a lot of fun rag chewing down there with Art and a whole bunch of other people. It was good times.
Oh, absolutely, K7 Echo Charlie. Art and I became friends back then, and when he found out that I was an Alpha amplifier warranty service station in Houston, so that I could see that the guys wouldn't have to ship their amps back to Colorado, he wanted when I retired from the airline, he said, well, why don't you come up and visit me? And I've got some stuff that I need to get fixed, and so I went out and stayed at his guest house with him and met Ramona. Art was just the nicest guy you'd ever want to meet. He's just a regular dude, and we didn't talk about his commercial radio show. We just played ham radio for 2 days. First time, a couple days, when I was fixing some radios for him. And he's just a good dude.
Oh, yeah. You know, Kirby, I think back then you were probably screwing around right towards the end of the 3840 thing. Have you ever been a member of the so-called elite hams group?
No, I'm not an elite ham. I'm just a regular old, plain old dude.
No, really, Art had a thing going on. It was a joke. He called it elite hams. And because of the QRM that was going on, we had a chat channel, and we also had video going, and I joined in with that. So I never got to meet him, but he egged me on to work on some cool things with audio with my TS-850, and I did. And he's kind of the guy that poked me into the direction of screwing around with extended sideband, which I still do once in a while. But we had a great time talking about audio and microphones and music and all that stuff. And yeah, he did not like to talk about the show. He liked to talk about radio and audio gear, and that's the way he rolled. And that was a lot of fun.
I think the country has lost one of their greater radio pioneers.
The question, how much of the stuff that you can broadcast on your shows, on your radio shows, is correct? And he said, oh, I guess probably 50%. And I believe that half of that is correct. So it's about 25% was the net result.
Oh yeah, he worked more on his stuff at home than he did at the station, you bet.
Kirby, I wish I had a better copy on you. I'm using the San Francisco SDR, Roger.
Oh, yes. Got up over there, and when you walked in the door of the station, there was a picture the signatures and they were kind of small. And he said, oh no, that was a gift that was taken in space, and they autographed it and sent it to me on one of the Apollo missions, and I just about fell over, and that was exactly what it was.
Yeah, have you tried listening to Kirby without the SDR, or can't you hear him at all out on the East Coast?
I'm only getting about 1 or 2 dB above my noise level. Let me try my local receiver. Kirby, come back and give me a transmission. I'll see if I can copy it direct.
Okay, well. Plays for 100 watts, and I'm copying you guys fine. The receiver in the 7610 is absolutely amazing.
Kirby, I'm copying you locally 1 to 2 dB above my noise level, and copying you through Half Moon at about 5 dB or so above the noise level.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't mean to interrupt. I apologize. I just thought I'd say who all was in here, and a bunch of guys off, and I haven't been on very early in the evening, so I haven't talked to Eddie in a while, but D9HSS, and I haven't talked to Jim at 7IU in a while, because he has older receivers like 102s and FT1000s and things like that. They don't have as good of receivers, and I don't have any power here. I couldn't run it if I wanted to because it burned my house down. Anyway, I guess I better get out of here. So I'll say 73 to everybody. You all have a very nice evening, and God bless. K7 Echo Charlie, and I'll be QFT after your final.
Roger, Kirby. Gosh, I was just wondering, is there an SDR receiver up in Canada, over on that coast, that might be better than San Francisco?
Definitely running the 100 watts for a long time, but I finally got 220 into the shack, so I am running an amplifier. I've got the HL22 here, which is, basically the SD220, 221, but the last skit line, it's not green. It's dark brown with orange, and it's a lovely amplifier. And I've been having a lot of fun with it, so I'm probably louder than I used to be, but you and I were always able to talk unless the lightning crunch was really bad. Anyway, 73 Kirby, and as you may recall, I went to college in Montana, in Bozeman, way back in the 70s, and I'll never be the same, because I used to live in Montana, and that's the way it is. 73, man. W0TKX.
Okay, Dave, WTKX 73, my friend. And yeah, I own five HL2200s back when I lived in Houston. But I built an alpha amplifier, except that with Phil's K0AR's help, and added a bunch of extra features, and we fixed all the things that were wrong with it. Three CX800s into an Alpha 76CA, and Peter Dahl special transformer that upped the voltage significantly, and this little box into a dummy load, and I'm not using it now because I don't have the 220 in my shack upstairs in this 100-year-old house. Into a dummy load, it'll put out 3,500 watts with a 100 watts drive.
Well, cool. Well, I know Jim would really like you to run power, so he damn near fell out of his chair a few nights ago when I talked to him, and he was just like, thank you for finally hooking up an amplifier.
Oh, absolutely. You're exactly right. Well, and I don't give him hell about Bigfoot, you know. He's got some really good Bigfoot stories from over in Nevada, and there are some up here in Montana, too. Over in the Crazy Mountains, you know where those are on the other side of the bridges from Bozeman. There have been some really interesting sightings over there. And one of the guys that was camping up in Cottonwood Creek in the Crazies on the south side of the Crazies, one of the hams, camped up there in a tent out in a meadow, saw something, started hearing screams coming towards him that were getting louder and louder. He looked over into the trees and saw something moving in the trees as he packed up his tent and left, and came back later on, and he found where the Bigfoot had built a crude line so that it could see you and you couldn't see it, and he never went back after that.
Oh, cool. Well, all right. Well, anyway, I know you want to get out of here. Talk to you later, man.
God bless. 73. Take care to everybody, Dave, and the gang. K7 Echo Charlie Yorkie. Good night.
Catch you later, Kirby. Maybe down the road we'll have some better conditions. You know, a little bit cleaner. So threes for the night. Have a good night. We'll catch you later. It's Kc9Vkv.
KV.
Dave, you still have a copy?
Still have a copy?
Oh, goodness, yes.
Roger, Roger. I think we're going to jump out for the night and corral the frequencies before we turn in shortly. Roger?
Roger.
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking the folks in the Vampire Net might be running. My internet crapped out. There seems to be something going on with Comcast, so I can't check up on that, but they're usually up a little higher in frequency than here, so they're crazy, the late night crew. They get a little more raucous than some of them, but they're certainly not particularly rude. They just get a tad more adult and silly. But anyway, good talking to you. I definitely noted your call sign, and I will try to find your page on YouTube at some point. Can't do it right now because, like I said, the internet went out here. But it is what it is. You know, I live in the foothills, and kind of a rural area, and sometimes Comcast craps out. Cable TV's still running, but the internet goes out sometimes. Anyway, 73, nice to meet you, man. And hopefully we didn't bore everybody on. Usually this frequency's pretty busy, particularly earlier in the evening, but when it gets to be late night, most folks go to bed, because an awful lot of them are, you know, around the Mississippi or east of, and but I work 12 to 11 p.m. And this is my I have a 3 every week, so because I work 4/10, so I don't even get home until about 12:30 or 1 o'clock a.m. Most of the time, so I'm just kind of staying up, trying to stay used to my regular hours. Thanks, man. Great audio, fun QSO, and keep on keeping on. 73, and as Alfred Hitchcock would say, good evening. W0TKX.
Roger, Roger, Dave. 3's underway, sir, and we'll catch you later. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo Victor, clear.